Okay, we're going to take a look at another worked example now, and we're back to the Friendly Foods case study. This time looking at a 9, could also be a 12-mark question on the extended marketing mix. Here's the case study on screen, so you can pause the video and read through it if you wish. It's over 2 pages. And don't forget, you can also download the case study from the file section of the gradebooster course. Friendly Foods is a business that sells frozen ready meals, and it targets older people, mainly living in their homes, delivering frozen meals to people aged 70 and above living at home. And they have 2 product ranges, a budget and a premium range. And the case study tells us something about how that product or service is delivered in terms of not just the pricing there of the product ranges, but the people, the delivery drivers in particular, who deliver the product to customers' homes, and the processes involved, including how the product is delivered and also how orders are placed by customers for their ready meals. So this case study is a classic example of a business that is utilizing the extended marketing mix. One of our key models, we take the 4 classic 4 Ps of price, promotion, place, and product, and add into it 3 more: physical, people, and process. And this question is really about 2 parts of those extra 3 Ps that make up the 7 Ps. So here's the question on the screen. Analyze the roles that process and people play in making the extended marketing mix effective for Friendly Foods. And I've put 9/12 marks because basically there's no difference between a 9 and a 12-mark question, except in paper 3 you get 2 12-mark questions, and of course you've got a longer case study in which to use to respond in your answers. So as always, we encourage you to unpick the demands of this question in terms of the start and the end point. How many points do you need, and what do we need to focus on? It's 12 marks, of course, or 9 marks, so there's no evaluation. But what do we need to focus on? What's it about? So you may wish to pause the video now and have a quick minute, maybe to plan your answer, having unpicked the question. And when you're ready, we'll have a look. And hopefully you've spotted that this question is about the extended marketing mix, but specifically 2 parts of it, isn't it? 2 parts of the 7 Ps, process and people. So that's what we need to focus on. And in terms of where our arguments need to get to, we need to explain how and why they play a role in making the marketing mix effective. So don't forget, the marketing mix is all about how the different elements of marketing, the 7 Ps, work together to be effective in terms of selling, in terms of making sales and earning profits. So really, that's what we have to focus on. How do each of those 2 roles, to each of those 2 elements, people and process, help make the marketing mix more effective? How many points do we need? Well, hopefully you've seen it says analyze the roles. So we're going to need to have 2 points, and therefore that's going to be 1 where we deal with process and 1 where we deal with people. And that's the best way, I think, to structure this response. Deal with, let's say, process first, and then deal with people. And that will be it. So hopefully the answer will be in context, and you're going to get 9 out of 9 or 12 out of 12. So you might want to pause the video again if you wish, and have a think about what points you might develop for each of the two roles, or the 2 for process and people. Maybe even have a go at writing a paragraph, maybe just 1 using the case study. And then when you're ready, join me now as we have a look at a couple of suggested responses. And I've just mapped them out in terms of the 2 arguments. I think it makes sense to do process, say, first, deal with that, and then move on in the second argument to deal with the other part, which is people. Anyway, enough of me waffling. Here is a suggested response on the screen. So let's read through it, and we'll also pick out some of the application that we've tried to season in this argument. So don't forget, we use a pecan approach. So we start our first sentence up to the first full stop, sets the point up. Don't include any application in that first sentence, because if you do, that becomes the point, and you're not going to get credit for the application. So the argument here is that the simple processes, so I'm dealing with process first, that customers use to place their orders helps make the overall marketing mix effective. So in other words, I'm going to try and explain how the simplicity of placing an order, part of the process of dealing with the business, helps make the marketing mix effective. So we need to explain how and why. Well, both meal ordering options for Friendly Foods seem to make the ordering process easy for the target demographic of older people. For example, Older people might be more comfortable using a telephone rather than ordering online because we were told that they use a telephone call centre. The call centre staff may be able to patiently guide customers through making suitable choices so that they don't feel rushed or confused. The call centre could suggest meal choices based on the customer's health status and gently encourage them to try a new recipe or one that other customers have recommended. Similarly, the face-to-face process of having a delivery driver in the customer's home, perhaps chatting over a cup of tea, is more likely to result in repeat orders than leaving older people to struggle with a smartphone app. So you've basically argued that we're making it easy for customers to place orders, therefore more orders will be placed, therefore our marketing mix is effective. Quite a lot of application in there. I've just highlighted some bits of that in red. The idea with application is to add at least 2 pieces of application into each point. If you can add more in, that's great. Different ways of doing it. So we've referred to the context, the situation in the case study. We've talked about how they are targeting a demographic of older people. We're talking about the situation that older people may be more likely to use a telephone than ordering online. And we're also explaining how the call centre could help older people make some meal choices. So rather than saying choose products, why not say meal choices? Routing the answer in the case study. And then I've added in, didn't need to, but I've added in this little line, perhaps chatting over a cup of tea. Why not? I have this vision of the delivery driver sitting down with Gladys and saying, how are you doing? How are you doing? Now, can we get on to your next order, please? Anyway, that's the process. Now let's move on to the people argument. So let's have a look at this one. What do you think? What point do you think you might have raised for this one? Well, I think it's about the delivery drivers adding some value to the service of the product because we're told that that's important to customers. So the people, dealing with people involved in delivering the meals, add perceived value to the product and help increase sales too. So we're making the product more valuable, more effective. Now, I've added a word in there, perceived value, which of course is from Bowman's strategic clock. So in theory, I could add in Bowman in there, but anyway, don't need to. And I need to go and explain how that works. How is it that how we deliver these meals adds value to the product? Well, delivery drivers appear to play a key role in both the delivery of the products and, which is, the physical delivery of the meals, and adding value to the customer, which should result in higher customer loyalty and more repeat business, reducing the need to spend on promotion to new customers. In other words, we're going to get a benefit in terms of our promotion, more repeat business because our customers like our drivers. Explain a bit more how and why is that the case? Well, it's likely that drivers are experienced and well trained, not just in handing the meals over, but also being able to sell during a visit. So older people are perhaps, it's not an assertion, it says perhaps most likely to buy from a friendly face, particularly somebody who visits regularly and who knows them. And by having drivers who are well informed about the product ranges and who've perhaps built up a personal rapport with regular customers, the investment in promotional activities such as radio and newspaper advertising is likely to be more effective, leading to a better return on investment. So we've basically argued that having this really close relationship, this face-to-face contact with customers, is actually making our other parts of the marketing mix more effective. It makes the product more valuable, and it also reduces the amount you spend, in theory, on trying to recruit new customers. And there is quite a lot of application in there. I've just highlighted a couple of other pieces of application. You could probably highlight a bit more. The fact that older people, we're talking about older people, we're routing this response in the case study. So older people are more likely to buy from a friendly face. I mean, that may or may not be true, but it feels like that's application to this case study. And we were also told about how they advertise. So I'm drawing information from the case study. In this case, they advertise on the radio and using leaflets in newspapers. But there we go. 2 points. So a 9-mark question, 2 points. A 12-mark, exactly the same structure. 2 pecan paragraphs, both responding to the question, both using context. And hopefully, I think that would be a top-level response, either 9 out of 9 or 12 out of 12. Hopefully you've had a go at the question too. Cheers.